Salutations Rangers, General Rally 101 back again with some more lore. Ah yes, dwarves. Everyone loves them. They're a staple of fiction and in most cases now sci-fi. There's what's better than man and rock and stone beneath a mountain, man and some space rock and stone baby. And 40K has been no stranger. Everyone was absolutely shocked when the Leagues of Votann made their appearance. But whether you love or hate the space dwarfs, you can't admit, it is good to see the stunties back in the good old world of Warhammer 40K. But while we have the loyal short kings, where are our traitor dwarves at? Are traitor dwarves even possible? Should they even exist? Can the Leagues of Votann turn to something different? How exactly is Chaos going to get involved? Or do they already exist here and now? All these questions and more answered in today's Warhammer 40K lore video. Because ladies and gentlemen, the Chaos Dwarves actually are in Warhammer 40K. So before we can get into the video proper, a little bit of TLDR as per usual. Way back when in the old days of Warhammer 40K, the squads, or as they were known back then in the OG version, the Space Dwarfs, were an offshoot of humanity that existed during the Dark Age of technology. They would be found during the Great Crusade and rejoined the Imperium proper. However, while most of them did indeed side with the Imperials, come the time of the Horus Heresy, there were indeed several dwarven holds that sided with the War Master, and thus turned to Chaos. Hence we have the Loyalist Stunties as well as the Chaos Short Kings. However, the squads would be retconned way back when. Basically, the Nids rolled up and gobbled up all of the short folks. Therefore, no more rock and stone in the good old Warhammer 40K. Yet despite this, GW's been playing around with the idea of throwing squats or space dwarves in general back to the setting, and lo and behold, it would come to us many years later in the form of the release of the Leagues of Votann, the revitalized version of the Space Dwarfs. And to say that this came with mixed results is a bit of an understatement. Whilst there were those like myself who were just happy to see dwarves back in Warhammer 40K, there were those who vehemently said these are not the same squats. And to be fair, GW has stated that yeah, they're not supposed to be the squats. They're supposed to be 40K's rendition of Space Dwarves. Also, when you consider the fact that they only have like, what, 6 kits or something like that? And like 1 named character, it's a little like, they're very underbaked. They're very underbaked, and many people are a little upset about that. Rightfully so, because it's basically not even like a full faction, my guy, come on. Why haven't they gotten like a new release? It's been like years, my guy, literal years. But GW being GW aside, the squats were back. Or Leagues of Votann, rather, I should say. But dwarves as a whole, and everyone was super excited for what to come with, and of course, the good old Chaos Dwarf boys were like, wait, where's our turn? What are we doing over here? How's this gonna look like? And lo and behold, when those brave followers of a shoot opened up the codex and they began reading and diving into the deep realms looking for the Chaos boys, they found absolutely nothing. Not only nothing, they found out that GW definitely have said the Votann are pretty much nigh immune to chaos. The Votann were deliberately genetically created to have diminished souls in the warp. For those who don't know, the kin, as they are now known, are basically genetic clone templates on each other. There's a big old pot of genes swirling around and cooking for 1,000 couple years, and basically whenever they need to make a new short king or queen, they just grab that thing, suck it up, and then plop it into a new type of super tube. And lo and behold, stunty. Pre-made, shipped, and packaged all to you in but one singular day. Basically, GW has stated that hey, Chaos Dwarves not gonna happen. The Leagues of Votann are not gonna become chaotic in any way, shape, or form. It has been embedded in their lore, and considering GW hasn't touched their lore in forever, yeah, it's most likely not gonna change anytime soon. So whilst yeah, it's very much possible you may have that one-off thing of like, oh yeah, lo and behold, here is this one singular dwarf that got turned, having an entire faction or entire hold, highly unlikely. Now you may be sitting there being like, wait, hold on, Brad, if that's the case, then this video has however many minutes left, what the hell are you going to talk about? Because ladies and gentlemen, while the Leagues of Votann may not be turned into chaos aside, that doesn't mean that there aren't Chaos Dwarves. For as per the title of this video, ladies and gentlemen, the Leagues of Votann may not be chaotic. But what if there already are Chaos Dwarves still in Warhammer 40K? You see, as I mentioned before, the lore around the squats in League of Votann is messy to be certain, but from what GW has given us, the squats did indeed exist, and there have been several holds that have been absolutely ravaged by the Tyranids. Because we do know for a fact that whilst the League of Votann are the main type of squat, there are indeed other type of dwarven entities in the Imperium, more specifically remnants of those Imperial dwarves from way back when, be they either refugees from the holds that have been destroyed, or those that were incorporated into the Imperium proper. Most notably, with examples of them existing via the Ironhead Prospectors on Necromunda. So, we do know that there is a difference in distinction between the Leagues of Votann versus other squads. Not every single type of space dwarf in 40k has a Votann at core, and is in a league, and is part of that whole nonsense. There are indeed dwarves who are completely separated from them. Therefore, that means that the Chaos Dwarf theory still holds water. You see, if GW is still gonna go along with this narrative, that the squads that died by the Tyranids were just a singular type of Votann, and that they were all scattered across humanity, then that means that they were still here for the Horus Heresy. And as we know, everyone and their mother was split right down the middle between Horus and Big E. Therefore, the Dawi of 40k fit that bill perfectly, meaning that lo and behold, we do indeed have Chaos Dwarfs kicking around in the Chaos Legions. And again, you may be saying, Brad, alright, that's a solid theory, my guy, but this is all just sky in the water. I mean, Chaos Dwarf lore hasn't been touched longer than goddamn Dwarf lore, and that itself is in retcon. But here now is something different. You see, when I was doing research for my Salamander video, look out for that by the way, coming in like a week or two, maybe, give or take, probably 3 weeks, but soon, TM. I made a discovery. I discovered something rather interesting. You see, in the Salamander's 8th edition codex, there was a description of a battle, known as the Battle of Elagros. Now this particularly was waged against the Salamanders during the Noctis Aeterna, or the Eternal Night. This is when the Great Rift just happened and everyone was going to shit. And lo and behold, the worlds of the Lagos system were invaded. And of course they were invaded by demons, but not just any demons. A bloodthirster by the name of Kazkul, and more particularly, his Rage Legion. A demonic Khorne legion made up of demons, demon engines, and elite mortal followers. From here, the demons massacred their way across the Hive cities, destroying and killing everyone and everything in their sight, with a mixture of flesh hounds as well as other demonic engines ravishing and destroying the city utterly. And as the Salamanders managed to get there after severe trial and error, they would fight the demons, and again, a mixture of demons and brass armored demon engines. And the Salamanders were able to fight through this terrible squalor, and eventually reach the surviving PDF down below on the planet. From here, they would make their way through the city, and they would find that there were several blood factories built from a mixture of gore-stained bones, demonic metal, and they were producing various different types of demonic weapons and engines. Here the Salamanders would slay these demonic engines, as well as their construction places and their mortal followers, destroying them outright, killing everything that was material. And by destroying all the material stuff, it severed the demonic connection between the material and the immaterial, sending Kazkul and his Rage Legion screaming back into the warp. By the way, Tushan totally smacked his dick in a 1v1. Papa Vulcan would be proud. Alright, so why on earth am I bringing this up? Well, it's because of everything in between. Firstly, the bloodthirster's name, Kazkul. Now, while that might just sound like an already demonic name, the particular one that we're going to look at is the first bit, known as Kaz. Kaz, as you will know, is a word very familiar with fantasy-era dwarves, more particularly of the Chaos variety. That particular phrase, the way it's spelled, K-H-A-Z, has been used very much so in the dialect of the Chaos Dawi, and is a staple of their naming conventions. Secondly, the Rage Legion. Chaos Dwarves organize their main fighting forces into what are known as legions, and the legion name in Dark Dawi directly translates into raging against the machine, or raging with the machine, something like that, rage and machine. Secondly, the Dawi of the Chaos Dwarves are known for their immense manufacturing and their sheer industrial prowess. They are known for literally creating demon engines and other vile monstrosities of demonic incursions using sorcery. And lo and behold, what on earth did all these Sally boys find upon this world? Blood factories made of gore bones and demon metal spitting out demonic industry. Now, there's not really much about this battle, but this is dripping with Chaos Dwarf energy. From the naming to the way they fought to what the Legion was composed of, it reeks of Chaos Dwarf. And it's very, very possible that some of those followers, some of the people that were involved in this Legion, were demonic versions or literal Chaos Dwarfs. Because GW has stated, no League of Votann, no kin, will ever become Chaos, but the kin aren't the only dwarves in Warhammer 40k. So it's very much possible that when the Salamanders arrived on Ragros, those whom they slayed controlling those massive demon engines were some of the fallen Dawi of the kin of Votann. So, we have established Chaos Dwarves in Warhammer 40k? Very possible, but it'd be kinda lame for me just to end this video here. Also, the video would be kinda short, or at least for my tastes. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna describe and do some theory crafting. What exactly would a Chaos Dwarf faction look like in Warhammer 40k? I mean, we have some really great reference, because CA has always brought Warhammer Fantasy straight out of the books and into life with the Chaos Dwarf faction. Very, very, very well done, mind you. So we have the Chaos Dwarfs. The Chaos Dwarfs of fantasy are known for being absolutely dedicated to manufacturing, mechanisms, construction, industry. Pure and simple. You think about dystopian capitalism industry? Chaos Dwarfs, baby. That's your bite. And in fantasy, they worship not their ancestors, but a specific type of god, known as Hashut. That being the bull-headed god of sorcery, magic, as well as manufacturing, construction, craftsmanship, etc. Basically a magic machine god. They are all about industry, heavy infantry, and use of magic. They love magic, they love warp shenaniganry. Also, fun fact, if a Chaos Dwarf practiced sorcery long enough, it will actually turn his body into stone. Which is why you notice that plenty of Chaos Dwarfs actually have little mech suits running around. But Chaos Dwarfs are all about fire and death, blood, industry. That is their whole shtick. Basically, magic, death, blood, fire factory. That's basically how you sum up Chaos Dwarfs in a nutshell. And as some of you may already be guessing, it's rather bloody easy to translate that into 40k. Now, a very simple way of doing this would just be introduce Hashut as a minor Chaos God entity. Brand spanking new, right? So we could do that. But when you consider there's already a god of machines and demon engines, well, some people may love this, some people may hate this, but hell, I'm just gonna say the Chaos Dwarves have a big in with Vashtor. Vashtor is basically the Hashut of 40k, baby. He feels out everything. The magic, the industry, and it would have a nice balance. You see, most chaotic forces are very backstabby, right? That's the whole shit, you can't trust chaos. Vashtor is the one notable exception to that. He is all about contracts. He is about funds, he is about management, he is about product, he is about deadlines, that's him. And when you think about dwarves, what else do you think about? Contracts, deals, trade. Dwarves are very no-nonsense. They want to get their shit done, they want to get it done well, and that's the end of that. Plain and simple. Well, when you consider those two together, it makes you wonder, was Vashtor created with the Chaos Dwarves in mind? Beings who adore and love contracts and dealing and demon engines, with a god of contracts, dealing, and demon engines. Is my 2 + 2 making fish? Maybe, but goddammit, that's a tasty fish right there, son. So the Chaos Dwarves would be aligned with Vashtor, either directly under his tutelage or in some type of a partner way form. One of the two. Either way, Vashtor is the Chaos God sorted. Secondly, magic. Well, plain and simple, Chaos loves its sorcery, loves its warp nonsense, loves its warpcraft, and lo and behold, the Chaos Dwarves love magic as well. And we can translate the whole stone thing into 40k as well. But whereas in 40k your body slowly turned to stone, I would kind of have something different. Basically the way that it works is that whenever you would have a Chaos Dwarf sorcerer, when he had to gain the powers of the warp had to take something back from him. Essentially, every time he casts a spell or summons a demon or imbues a demonic weapon with power, a little bit of his body gets turned into metal. But not just any metal, demon metal. So basically, the idea goes that as this dwarf keeps on casting and casting and casting, creating more and more magic, eventually his entire body will be subsumed into some type of demon automata. And basically you're going to have this thing type of like chosen type vibe, where you're going to have some of them that are still cognizant of who they are. They're able to control themselves and do what needs to be done. But they're basically dwarven versions of like hell brutes or something. Not crazy, but like, or like obliterators, right? They're still in the senses, but like biomechanical demon engine nonsense. But then you do have the whole hell brute version, that being crazed berserkers who are completely lost to their whims. No more magic is in them. All they are rampaging, chaotic brutes. And hell, maybe there is still magic in them. Maybe you could have it that they're unstable, so when they die, boom, D3 mortal wounds in 6 inches. Because magic chaos dwarf shenaniganry. As to how more of their army would look like, simple. A core of elite Dawi infantry. Heavy power armor, focuses on ranged combat, primarily a shooting-based army. But they're not exactly slouches in melee. But they would also make use of slaves. In fantasy, dwarves, very big slavers. Slaves, not laborers. Goddammit, CA. Goddamn all the rubbish laborers, my ass. So it'd be quite simple. The Chaos Dwarves would simply be pirates. They would go around and they'd be raiding, particularly of the greenskin variety. They would enslave or get mercenaries via the greenskins, which either one works, and they would have them serve as the cannon fodder. They could also have other elves, humans, whoever it may be. Basically, they grab you, you're a slave now. Go and imprint this demon metal with this demon voodoo. Simple as. So their army would be a very interesting stark contrast. You would have a core of elite infantry, possibly one range-focused choice, possibly one melee-focused choice. Basically the infernal god from fantasy, because look at them, they're just so gorgeous. You would also have very elite vehicles, demonic flyers, demonic artillery, demonic armor. Also, Kadai destroyers, literally demon engines, bro, 1 for 1. Unique type of dwarven nonsense. But you would also have very cheap infantry as well. Grots, Gretchen, Orc boys. Hell, maybe even throw some Chaos Corrupted Corn Beastmen into it. Beastmen are still technically canon in 40k, so might as well, right? You could have this weird Beastman hybrid type nonsense where like the bottom is just like a bike and it's like a Beastman on top with like an axe, 2 axes, and he's screaming and they're like frothy and all this nonsense. And then of course you would have their legendary lore choices, or name characters, and in this case we're gonna give them 2 because yeah, no, sorry GW, just giving one guy named Uther the Distant, come on, bro. One would be a melee lord, focused on a beat stick, he'd be like the main general of the legion type thing, and the other one would be a sorcerer supreme type nonsense. Can you tell I'm drawing very heavily from fantasy? Because if you already have something perfect, why try and make something better? That's a Roman mentality right there, baby. But now that we talked about what they would look like, how they would act, and what type of army they would have, let's go and see where they would fit in the lore proper. I imagine Chaos Dwarves as being a Chaos faction that isn't part of the main group. When I say the main group, I mean the Big Four. The Big Four have a cycle. Fight amongst each other, join together, fight the Imperium, get their ass beat by the Imperium, fight amongst each other, repeat ad nauseum. The Chaos Dwarfs, much like Vastor, would be something separate from it. I would imagine them being some type of mercenary force, mercantile in their endeavors. They're concerned purely with their own means. As to what their means could be, well, remember Hashut? Maybe Hashut does exist in Warhammer 40k, but he's something like Malal. The idea that he does indeed exist, but he needs to be brought into the world, or he needs to be summoned in totality, or they're trying to make him real. The Emperor wasn't always a god, but he's become a god because of the belief of humanity over 10,000 years. Maybe what the Chaos Dwarves are trying to do is they're trying to use their wealth, power, and belief by their psychic might to literally turn Hashut into an actual minor chaos deity. Maybe Vastor is actually working with them, because he wants to get Hashut to come out. Then together with the combined forces of Hashut, the Chaos Dwarves, and Vastor, they can upend the original order. Instead of it just being the Big Four, maybe it's the Big Six. Who knows? Vastor has expressed that he does not like the Chaos Gods. He does not like the great game that they play. He wants something different. And lo and behold, if the Stunties get help from him, they may be half obliged to help. So the Chaos Dwarves are an insular bunch. They don't really care about all the internal fighting, they don't care about the great game, they don't care about all that nonsense. They have one goal and one goal alone. That is to generate enough power via wealth, slaves, and demon engines to create so much demonic power and eventually, when the time is right, transfer all of that demonic power into one unique conduit to birth their new god, Hashut, the god of the Chaos Dwarves. And that's all they're doing. They don't care about anyone else. But in the same way how they don't care about anyone else, they don't hold allegiance. If anyone is willing to pay them, they're willing to work. Hell, if an Inquisitor is like, hey, here's some cash, go ahead and do this thing, they will do it. Now of course an Inquisitor is never going to do that because chaos bad, but they don't really care. All they want to do is summon their god. And they will do anything to reach that means. They are going to be ruthlessly mercantile. If I were to describe them, it would be dystopian capitalism crossed with severe demonic sorcery. They are a company. They have but one goal, and they will sacrifice anyone, anything, even themselves to get it done. And as to how they would treat each other, I would imagine it would be this weird type of, hey, we're doing this together, therefore we have to be together. But at the end of the day, when the Hashut comes forward, I want to be the one to serve him. So ultimately they would never jeopardize the main goals of the race. But they're not exactly above pissing off one or two of their fellows and giving them the good old kick in the dick so they can get up the top rung of the ladder. And, ladies and gentlemen, that would be my idea for the Chaos Dwarves. Now, people would make the argument, okay, why do we need Chaos Dwarves? Just because it was in fantasy doesn't mean it needs to be in 40k. And, you know, I agree with that, really. Just because it is in fantasy doesn't mean it has to be in 40k. Fantasy and 40k are their own unique, beautiful things, and we should appreciate the differences as well as the similarities that they have with each other. That being said, though, I feel that Chaos Dwarves would add something that Chaos is lacking as a whole. Chaos basically is the Big Four. Nothing more, nothing less. You are Khorne, you are Tzeentch, you are Nurgle, or you are Slaanesh. But that's not the case. There are several other minor Chaos deities, like actually in the lore. There are unaligned Chaos deities. There are Chaos undivided deities as well. Chaos is not just the Big Four. The Big Four are a part of Chaos. Yet in the lore, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you basically have to choose. Even when you get big characters like Be'lakor, he's still tied so heavily to the OG 4 Chaos Gods, it really does make you wonder, stop and ask, hey, is he really his own thing? That is partially why I love Vastor so much. He is objectively a chaotic individual, but he has no allegiances, no ties, nor anything to do with the main Chaos faction. And I love that, because it diversifies Chaos. It's not just the Big Four anymore. It is Chaos as in demons, hell, and the many different facets of hell. Yeah, you may have the Big Four ones, but that don't mean that they're all there. And personally, I feel that Chaos Dwarves would add to this. Chaos Dwarves would be specifically, as I said, mercantile. They have a job to do, they have their own goals to do. They don't care about Khorne, Nurgle, Siege the Nest, they don't care about none of them. They would be something unique. I would imagine interaction with them would go something like this. There's an Imperial world. The Imperial world is being besieged by chaotic demon forces, let's say Khorne. All of a sudden, another warp translation appears, and lo and behold, it is Chaos Dwarves. The Imperials see the Chaos, they're like, oh, they're going to attack us, they're going to join us, they're going to attack each other, something's going to happen. And basically, the Chaos Dwarves are going to scoot right past Khorne and go over to the moon of the world. Because there's something there that they want. Some unique type of metal that can be used for demon forging. They're going to grab that, kill the Imperials that are there, but then the Khorne demons are going to see them, they're going to try and get them, but then the Chaos Dwarves are going to kill the Khorne demons and then just bounce. And the Imperials are going to be there, absolutely gobsmacked. Why on God's good green earth did that happen? What is these people? Who are they? They do not care about anything going around them. They do not care about the great game. They have one goal, to resurrect Hashut, and that's it. And this could lead to further development of Chaos as a plot. Because maybe the Chaos Gods, they want to put down Hashut. Because maybe Hashut would end up being stronger than all of them. Maybe Hashut would be something different. Perhaps if Hashut came back, he together with Fashtor could forge the other demons into an army. He could take those minor Chaos deities and lift them up for a price. Because remember, the dwarves, like their god, only care about business. Therefore, Hashut would have no problem helping Vashtor upset the balance, so long as Homeboy got paid in the end. That would give Chaos a vested interest to actively hinder the Chaos Dwarfs. Not just when it suits them, not just once in a blue moon, but every single time the Chaos Dwarfs pop up, all of Chaos is going to be like, hey, we need to fuck those guys up. If not, there's going to be big bullshit happening. We would essentially have a cold war brewing within Chaos. It would give Chaos more depth than simply just being the big Satan bad guys. And I feel like the Chaos Dwarfs are an amazing way to introduce that. Not because they look bloody fantastic, not just because the community loves them, but because it makes sense. Yes, you could just do everything I said with the Chaos Dwarfs with another faction and not make them dwarves, just make them human-based, but then you're gonna have people asking, hey, why not just make them dwarven-based as well? The dwarven archetype of a chaotic evil dwarf is that. And it fits this Chaos Dwarf idea so perfectly well. And as I said before, if it's already perfect, why try and make it better? And ultimately, I believe that adding Chaos Dwarves into Warhammer 40K would not only be an amazing endeavor, but also create a faction that is not only unique, brings the community great joy, but actively changes the story of Chaos, advancing it and making it significantly better. Also, it would make Dutch Cream his joys. He's a massive Chaos Dwarfs fan, by the way. That's the only thing he plays when we play Total War together. Now, if you would excuse me, the nation calls and I must answer. Summon the Elector Counts! But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. That has been me pleading my case for as to why Chaos Dwarf should be in Warhammer 40k. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do y'all agree? Do y'all disagree? Do you guys think that the whole Battle of Argos is GW testing the waters being like, who? Maybe Chaos Dwarfs? Or do you think they're just making a nice reference to it? Personally, it could be either or, but I think that Chaos Dwarfs really should be in 40k because it just fits them so well, my guy. And we consider what Chaos is, there are so many elements of Chaos that already are very Chaos Dwarvy that actually translating them into 40k is going to be such a breeze. And as I said, it made Chaos more than just Gur, the big bad evil guy. But those are my thoughts, and I'd love to hear yours down below. But I want to say a massive thank you to you guys for watching, but even more massive thank you to my awesome members and Patreons. Big shout out to my beautiful officer core, Mr. Eddie V3 and Miss Majora of the Void. Big shout out to my Sartager members, Mr. Damiak, Mr. Andy McGee, Mr. Wolfsman the Farhut, Mr. Corns Butcher, Mr. Sean RL7, Mr. Bulwen, and Mr. Matthew Merrill. Shout out to my Corporal Tier members, Mr. Tremayo the Math Kitty, Mr. Lord Rosarius, Miss Shauna Smithers, Mr. Tech Priest Toaster, and Mr. Rambling Hamster. And finally, but absolutely certainly not least, big shout out to my private tier members, Mr. Thomas Moslons, Mr. Ivan_SVW, Mr. Michael Hader, Mr. Tori's Curse, Mr. Monkey Man, Mr. Diego Castro, Mr. Vortis Unum, Mr. Gentle Salamander, Mr. CMD Nay, The Wench of Warhammer, Mr. Simon Kamu, and Mr. Dar Marek. Thank you, each and every one of you. I love y'all, I appreciate you. The fact that you guys keep on doing this, it means the world to me. I'm going to try to make some stuff up. In fact, let me know down below to all my members. What would you guys like to see for like member rewards or benefits? I know that you guys get these videos early, get early access to them, but your behind the scenes stuff, anything happens. But there hasn't been much happening right now, I'll keep it a buck with you, but it will, I promise. But hey, regardless of it all, I just want to say thank you guys for being here. It means the absolute world to me that you guys do this, and I'm sincerely, eternally grateful. But as always, whether you give your boy a dollar or not, I will love you just the same and be just as grateful that you are here watching, liking, and commenting on this amazing video. You being here is just amazing, and I will love you. Mwah! But ladies and gentlemen, I've been the General Bradley 101. You've been beautiful, awesome, and amazing people. Thank you all so very much for watching. Y'all make sure to say love there, boys and girls. And I will catch y'all next time. Dismiss, Rangers! Also, I'm just saying, the fact that we haven't gotten, like, a Votan thing of them speaking Space Dwarvish and, like, holding grudges and shit. Come on, GW. Come on, bro.